Hey guys, welcome back to the 1648 budget build. Remember, the budget is under 2 grand or right at 2 grand. That's raw materials into the boat. We'll be adding external add-ons from people who are donating to the boat to make it cool. But really, we kind of want a basic mainstream Jon boats, and what I kind of want is a roughneck boat too. So, like roughneck things added on to the boat that we have not done before. So we'll be adding those on. I think I have a pretty cool vision for it. You guys will obviously guide the vision as well as we go on. So I'm going to do this series in steps. I think the bigger fail for my last 2 projects was I did not do a series on them. I had gotten complaints here and there about how I dragged series on too long for months, and then I'd seen how some other creators have just like did the boat and held onto it, and then super big end reveal at the end and it exploded. And that has not worked for me at all. I definitely failed with no series for the Palm Prowler and no series for that bow fishing rig. The Palm Prowler, I just didn't want to do the series. The bow fishing rig, I got rushed on that, and I'm still actually really pissed off about that whole thing, how it played out. That's another thing. But I do plan on I erased all the bow fishing rig videos. I got rid of them whenever I don't want to make excuses, but when I was doing that boat, I was very not happy. A lot of that actually came out into the boat, into the end reveal. Like, it was more about the struggle of building that boat versus like the cool things that went into building that boat. And there was also no series for that boat. So I'm gonna start leaking a series for those boats. Probably the bow rig and then the Palm Prowler, what I can leak of the Palm Prowler, because both of those were kind of rushed. And so no more rushing. We don't have to rush. That's not our thing. I'm an artist, I'm not a boat builder. I'm not a fabricator. I don't work for anybody else but you guys. I don't want to work for anybody else. The only thing I have to give to you guys generally from those experiences, is the build and the process, and then nothing is generally given back in a reciprocal value from the other person. It goes back to another rant about why I don't build boats for people, and I did a video about that a long time ago. I erased it because it was like emotional and stupid, and it pissed off a few people, and I had a 40-minute long professional victim hit piece launched against me from a lame out here. I'd rather just build these boats and give them away to somebody. In fact, we'll be giving away the other budget rig, the V-hull. That is going to come up. We are going to be giving that boat away. Because I am 100% like, I tried and I tested that thing, and no matter where that boat goes, it's going to be 100% safe. So expect that. I'd rather just do this for the audience, get it going, and sometime in the fall, that boat will be given away. That's how we're going to be rolling. No more sponsorships. None of it. What I've noticed is it doesn't terribly matter on the quality of person. The same issues go from, like, the expectations change, and there's the same issues that arrive. Being good at your craft doesn't necessarily mean you can provide a service to people. Personally, I'll take a little bit of responsibility. I'm not really fit to build boats for people because of what I am. I am an artist. I'm not a fabricator. I'm not a boat builder. I'm not some person who provides services to people. I've actually always hated that in my life. I've always just wanted to create things and then show these things to the general public, because that's what an artist does. And that's what I do. That's how I think. I don't think like an engineer, I think like an artist. I can essentially do what engineers do as an artist. I think artists were the initial engineers, and then somewhere down the line, computers and machines and everything that you program, mathematic equations, kind of took over our job. I believe in team people. I don't believe in being replaced by machines. That's my focus on empowering people, showing people my craft. That's what I want to do. Okay, now I got that rant out of the way. Let's get on to the budget build. Okay, day 1 of gutting. Dominic here. Gutted the live well and has started to gut parts of this nonsense. We got a bunch of steel rivets. It's odd. We have steel rivets, then we have bigger steel rivets. Then somewhere down the line, they had the notion to use solid aluminum buck rivets, and then aluminum pop rivets. So there's just I just guess whatever they had on hand is however they chose to build the boat. Whatever was there was whatever went in. No standards. Onto the subfloor, sir. Have fun with the subfloor.
That has to be taken out.
Oh yeah, you have to take all that out.
So.
Oh no. Oh, it is.
But I can start working on these.
Hold on. All right, it's time to use the plasma cutter. I don't use this thing very often, but when I do, I'm glad I have the tool. We have an adapter. I made a plug out here on it was a 50 amp breaker, 50 to 30 conversion, generally for the trailer when it's back here. But at the odd notion, that would one they need to weld, and that requires a different receptacle or inlet, outlet, whatever you want to call it. I had an electrician make this for me because he had all the plugs and stuff, and here it is. way to weld. It's got a pretty generous lead, this titanium. This is like the bigger one. The 120 amp one will just completely cut anything that's aluminum. Aluminum is really fairly simple to cut. It's when you get to steel that you probably would have issues, but this thing just slices right through at the lowest setting on a 220. So we probably could just run a 120 extension and done fine, but you know. Oh yeah, you need an air compressor. That's the only annoying thing about this thing. You can't, it's not like it's super portable unless you have a portable air compressor that can keep up with what you're doing. All right, look at this mess. What do we have here? We have AstroTurf. You know, people still do this grass stuff. I've seen it recently, and it's like brand new. I don't know why you would put green grass in a boat deck, but hey, what? Different strokes for different folks. Bigger thing was, there's where a drain port was. That's where it was in the subfloor, right there, and that is the most caked nastiness. It just all saturated right there. Then you look under here, there are no gussets for draining. So there's that. There's no mistake that it got this bad. This is a combination between mud and things and AstroTurf. The bear hull doesn't appear to be terribly bad. These are the foam boards, and a lot of people advocate for marine foam board, which is pretty much pour foam poured into a board, and then obviously cut in place in certain spots. But when you cut it, you break the seal. So I don't know, unless they have a better way of forming them. Generally, you would get a big board of this stuff, and obviously it's probably a better quality. This is like 1980s foam board versus today's foam board. It's probably a much better foam board, but that's how we would do this if we were going to put foam board back into the subfloor. I'm on an anti-foam movement for the subfloor forever, so we're going to leave this subfloor hollow and void. No more foam in here. All the foam will be on the sides, and any foam that we can stack in here, we can stack in the sides where it wasn't anyways. And then we can offset the foam back here, which that was its own mess. It was just styrofoam. But look, we do have corrosion and pitting. It's always toward the back. Look at that, that's really bad. That really worries me very badly. I don't know what we're gonna, we'll have to take a wire wheel to that. We'll see the true damage, but you can look at that. That is disgusting. Yeah. Oh crap. And I probably have to reinforce that with some sort of aluminum. That one is Dunsky. There's just parts where it's like that. And then sometimes it's so bad, it's everywhere, all the way across here. I see little bits of pits and oxidation down here. I don't see too much of it. The transom is clearly like weathered on the bottom, but towards it doesn't look terrible. Well, we won't know until we cut that off. We started cutting it off with the plasma cutter here, but we're gonna just, you know, I'll probably wait to take this whole transom out until I spray and get all the gunk out of here, and we put this thing in the garage. It'll be very, very shortly coming. This used to be the trailer for my smoker craft. Then I upgraded the smoker craft trailer and had to do something with this trailer. I was going to use it for this boat because this boat had the worst trailer. It's still a really bad trailer. It's not good. So what we plan to do about that is, for one, I have to extend the tongue, and do a tongue extension and gotta go buy things for it. And then we can possibly talk about what we're gonna do afterwards. Add-ons that we're gonna be making to this roughneck boat, budget boat, is going to be bolt-on pods. These are gonna give us an extra 200 pounds or so of reserve of like actual buoyancy, water displacement buoyancy, which will lift the back up tremendously. We'll have a much more shallow draft for the entire boat, especially in the back. So we'll be able to get in the shallows a lot better, and we should, in theory, get on plane a lot faster. You might lose a little bit of top end speed, but to get on plane faster is a big deal because we're only going to be running a 25 horse. And we got a Roy's anchor here. This is one of the version 2 prototypes. Our finished prototype will have square tubing, which is much stronger and works way better with aluminum. And we'll also have a quick release. So you pull that, it'll go, and then obviously you store it. Pull that tab right on there, and that's like the quick release. That's part of the version 2 process here. And then you'll also have the option for handles, which I prefer the handles. I as a bass fisherman don't particularly care for this lanyard thingy, but a lot of people love the lanyard leash, and which is why we have it on here to begin with. So you initially would lower it with this, so you can control how it deploys and stows with the lanyard. And then you have a pin that goes to the very top during actual travel. So while you're on plane, or definitely, obviously when you're going down the road, I would definitely have that in. I don't know if I would trust that in super high waters going down, but it's definitely good for like when you're actually fishing and you're ready to just stow and deploy these at will because you're trolling down an area. But if you're actually going on the water, I would put these in. They work really well for small Jon boats and small aluminum boats. Even Jon boats that are like, even roughneck Jon boats that are like 17 and 18 feet, these actually still work really well for it. They work well without a hydraulic unit. They don't have to dig because they just naturally grab the ground. As the boat wiggles in the water, they kind of naturally force themselves down and they readjust with the waves and the currents. So as the boat moves, they move, and it all just kind of works. And we have these clamp-on ones, and we're going to make, and we also have just ones that you just straight up attach to the boat. I would actually recommend those more, but if you're like myself with a smaller garage and these are just gonna hit your garage, then that's why we have clamp-on ones. Definitely gotta be. We're also gonna have little brackets in here to where these, it prevents this from falling off. Next video, we're gonna be ripping out that transom, putting in the new transom, attaching the pods after the new transom's in, and then hopefully by then we'll have our anchors up and running, and the back will be taken care of. The back is have to be done first. It just is the way it is. And after that, oh, also we're going to be putting a jack plate on here. On the fly jack plate is going to be donating one for the project because they're awesome, and we're going to definitely putting one on here. We're also going to get a 25 horse mark and put it on this thing also. Stay tuned.